Just focus on making it out of town for now.
Hello everyone, Pretty Scooter here, and welcome back to more of Fire Emblem Warriors.
I'm here to help.
Last time we kind of got introduced to the game, and much like every Fire Emblem game, to my knowledge, the game opens up with you losing your parent. Actually, that's kind of the plot of every fantasy game. Is Fire Emblem is really just a bag of tropes, isn't it? Anyway, as we start off here, we are going, well, the game's kind of explaining things, but this is hopefully a way for me to show the parts of the game that do reflect the fact that it's Fire Emblem outside of the 7 characters any one person can know at any one time, unless you've been playing Fire Emblem since it was available on the NES somehow in America, and you know every character by heart, including Barter. That's the deepest cut you'll get out of me. So, the tactics that are going to come from this, which are more common in all Musou fighter games, the tactics that come from this game will rely on having multiple characters so you can actually order characters around. Which, I think at the time of Fire Emblem Warriors, was actually the first time in the Team Ninja Koei Tecmo's whole catalog of Musou fighters where you could actually say, hey, Unit B that I'm not controlling, I want you to go over here while I'm going this way. I think this is the first time you could actually dictate tactics, and I think that system that started here has gone into every other Musou fighter or big hack and slash that they made, even to Hyrule Warriors, as you've probably seen me do in the past. We probably won't see it too much right now. We probably won't see it too much in this moment. So we probably won't see it too much right now while we're doing these opening chapters, because we have our titular character and that's it. Yeah, the warrior gauge. Oh, I actually got that. That is for the special. So for things that to make more sense to folks. For things to make more sense. For things to make more sense in time, I guess the warrior gauge is the special meter, and the Fire Emblem, or they have another gauge. I guess they just call it special gauge for more things. There's like 7 or 8 special animations you get for doing various things. Critical hit point for basically the quick kill on an enemy when you break their guard. The special you activate by pressing a single button, and then the special you'll activate when we get to the other gauge, which we haven't gotten there yet. And also forgive me if I talk in circles. I have knowledge, like I've said last episode, I have knowledge of a lot of stuff that's basically at the end of this game where I don't have to play Boo Boo Baby mode. I'm trying to use that knowledge in this portion of the game where I have effectively 3 combo chains and 1 path forward to victory. Can I break it this way? Oh, no, I can't. They're guarding, so wait for it. Now, a lot of times when I'm doing a lot of these attacks, I should say I'm not so much oh boy, I got hit. I like how this is the first time I got hit, so it talks about taking damage. As it is right now, what is it? The 2 different play styles which we touched about last time for between casual and classic. Classic is the only difference is that when a character dies, it's over. But when playing the game, if the character you're controlling loses all their HP, they're out of the battle for the rest of the battle, no matter what form of combat you've chosen between classic and casual. But yeah, you'll lose control of that character for the rest of that mission. So if you have another character lined up, you are forced to play that or the other up to 3 characters you have available to you. So if you lose all your HP across all 4 characters that you're allowed to control in the mission, that is true game over. Now considering we only have one character, 1 health bar gone, 1 game over.
The gate's open. Let's go.
And I never talked about combos, so I think I'll take a minute just to discuss this. So, yeah, menu list, blah, blah, blah. I'll talk more about this in time. So menu, warrior info is how you're going to see the more intricate stats about your character. Oh, sorry. I guess everything starts at E rank, not C rank. My bad. So these are your attacks for basically your one character. And like I said, we have 3 combo chains. And I guess I haven't done this wrong. With all games, regardless of what control style you pick, you basically have your weak hit and your strong hit. You basically do X amount of weak hits into your strong hit for your finisher. Sometimes your finisher can be chained into the start of another combo chain very, very quickly. Sometimes your finisher is meant to break the enemy's weak point. Finishers are different constantly. Now, playing as Liana here, this is probably the most... Liana or Rowan, if you chose Rowan. This is probably the most, like, middle-of-the-road character you'll get. Like, all their attacks aren't super strong. They're not super weak. They don't have single-target focus. They don't have multi-target focus by their actual appearances or how it's actually designed. That's a better word. So, this is basically the main character they give you, or the titular character, as I've been calling it this whole time. The character that they give you at the start, this is basically to help you figure out, hey, what kind of playstyle do I want to mess around with? Now, again, if we had other characters, we could shout out orders, as you see here. Again, we only have the one character.
Yes?
I guess it's really that. I kind of wish I could, like, see my other characters, because Prince Darius and Rowan are shown there as green units, which that's another thing with Fire Emblem. I'm gonna go about this. Typically in Fire Emblem, key opponents that are key opponents to you are going to be red. If they're a special character, they will have a custom battle sprite, like you're kind of seeing in the lower left and on the map as I'm hovering over and covering up. If it's a blue unit or has a special sprite like Liana there's somebody that you are able to command in battle most of the time, but only if they're blue. So once we start getting more characters, you start seeing more blue colored character sprites, we can move them about. That's kind of the same, that is more or less the same color coordination that is available in all Fire Emblem games, much like the green. Because unfortunately we can't choose Darius or Rowan, but characters that you have no agency over whatsoever in Fire Emblem are denoted as green, meaning they'll act for their own free will. Something I'm aware of, for what little I played Fire Emblem, is green characters are also sometimes recruitable via very specific means. I think there is that stipulation here in 2 instances, and if you fail the recruitment requirements at that time, don't worry, you'll get them by default at a later point. So, Darius and Rowan are just going to be doing their own thing.
We can get to the exit for this plaza.
Anyway, I want to do this. Huh. That strong thing is a way to do it. Now, on the map, even though we can't see it too well right... Ah, there we go. Even though we can't see it too well... Oh, we got vulneraries? Good. Vulneraries, and there it is. So vulneraries are basically quick heals. They are limited per mission. Apparently I can speak words. They're limited by mission. So that number you see up there, 2, that's... You usually get 2 or 3 vulneraries per mission, and using them... they have a area of effect use on it in this game. Vulneraries are basically potions in most fantasy settings. They have an area use effect to them. So, say Darius or Rowan were about to fall in battle. If I were to walk up next to them, use the vulnerary, it would heal myself and them as well. Now, I don't think the lose condition in this battle is that anyone falls other than the player character. Some missions have it where if a non-controlled ally falls in battle, or non-controllable ally falls in battle, the mission's over. So keep this in mind that vulneraries are not just for you, they also function as use for other people. There are skills we'll get later on that will give us more uses of vulneraries, I think up to 6 at most if I recall, per mission. Oop, back. Double back. Hi, Donald.
I received a report.
Anyway, I'm just gonna go dummy mode. Now, using the warrior special or the special gauge here like this on special monsters or strong monsters that have a weak point, a stun point you can affect. Oh, it's dead. Monsters that have a weak stun gauge you can afflict and break. If you use a warrior gauge, if they don't die to your warrior special or your special attack, their stun lock gauge will be open to you to break their guard and hit them with a critical strike. Anyway, I already finished the special mission, so we can just move on. And that's something on the, there's, yeah, submissions for every mission. Typically, good idea to do the submissions alongside the main mission. Though, if you are stuck in a situation where finishing the submission makes you fail the main mission, you may just have to come back at a later point and finish the submission then. I don't think we'll know better in time. I don't believe submissions failing a submission, or I don't believe submissions count towards the 100% completion of this game, which was what I'm going for. I don't believe it will affect your completion, 100% completion of the game, but finishing submissions do typically get you additional weapons and/or better weapons.
Either defeat the enemies in the plaza or help the stranded villager. Choose.
I am doing both.
Mission complete.
Actually, wait, I better go back.
Please, take this as a sign of my gratitude.
I'm going to go back because I'm pretty sure that we actually have to... Okay, nope, no weapon this time. So yeah, you can, at least in this game, you can avoid working with, or avoid combat with every enemy you see. But attacking them is also a good idea because there is a level up system, which you can see in the lower right corner there. Level ups do have stats in this game, so you are going to want to try and level up as fast as possible, because they do give you additional stats. Anyway, hip. There we go. And break your gauge if you don't have a break. All right, fair enough. And where's the last one? There it is. Now, I will say, when I play these games, I don't focus so much on, I don't, mentally sit there and, hit my buttons okay, hit this button, this button, this button, this button. I don't do anything like that. I don't do anything like that. I look for the animation.
In the weight department.
Hurtful, sis. Uh-oh. Thanks for the help. And you are?
Marth. A pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Our allies are on their way.
Yes, Marth. Heavy air quotes, Marth. Anyway, I'm switching off a character right away.
Marth? Just who are you anyway?
But Marth, well, Marth controls a little different. Marth controls a little different, which is great. Marth, I'm trying to say it with an inflection, because those who know. Those who don't know, I'm trying to keep you in the dark as much as possible. Marth is more single target oriented with their attacks. And they're a little strong-armed, for lack of a better term. And, what is it? Yeah, Marth is a little more strong-armed in comparison to some other characters. I would say Marth is probably more the playstyle for Marth is probably, if you like
Here to help.
Age of Calamity Link's control style, where like the third or fourth hit combo is the fastest combo and also breaks the enemy's guard the fastest. Also, I did this earlier by accident, so forgive me for glossing over that. If you are, if you do have multiple strong enemies in the encounter, enemies with stun gauges you can take advantage of, if you're locked onto one of them, you can change your target as you go with the right thumbstick.
Your days of raiding are over.
But considering, stop your foolishness. Foolishness, Dante, foolishness.
Won't let you get away. Mission complete.
I think
There
we're
we go.
safe now. I must take my leave of you.
Oh, and that's it. And now we're forced to stop playing as Marth. Anyway, I'm going to break some pots there, see if I get some... Oh, I can just get money. Money, oddly enough, is important for a specific character later on. That is actually really hard to unlock, actually. And I liked using the character, but I'm going to avoid using them in this playthrough until, like, it's optimal. And I may actually go back over to my main profile play session so you can see what that character does. Now, I'm going to go down secret paths here. Actually, I don't remember if this is where, if down here is where the mission ends, or if there's unlockables down here in this alleyway. Okay, go to the objective. Much like with all other Koei Tecmo Muso fighters, there is always going to be collectibles of some kind on the map, so that's always something we're going to see or try and strive for. And we're done here. I didn't get to use the tactic cam, by the way. I didn't get to use the tactics function. So as I said before, money is very important. So one of the key differences about difficulty, and by the way, I will mention that at any point, if anything seems too easy, you can switch difficulty options, or sorry, too easy or too difficult. You can switch difficulty at any point. There are multipliers to experience and gold based on what difficulty you've chosen. We're playing a normal, so it's ×1 or a flat 1-to-1 ratio. I don't have numbers on a lot of this stuff, so forgive me if I get something wrong. If you're playing on easy, the multiplier for experience and money is ×0.8 or 80% of what you would normally get. On hard, the multiplier is 1.2 multiplier or 120%. And there's a fourth difficulty, which I won't give name to, but will tell you it exists when you unlock it. The fourth difficulty option multiplies everything by 1.5 or 150%. For grinding purposes, you're going to want to get used to using that fourth option, which I have done in the past. So there may be grinding in the future. Finally. And I missed a memento, I think? Oh no, the memento is the collectible. So now we're at this point. Can I do anything else? No, I can see the map. So we finally have a proper stage selection. Although unlike other Muso fighters or warrior style games that you've seen me play or you might be more familiar with if you also like this genre, but unlike those games that have come out in the last... God, I'm going to say decade. In the last decade, where there's a huge sprawling map where there's got little tiny missions you can visit to do like 5-minute missions in between. For the main story, there is none of that. It is story point to story point to story point to story point. There is no little side split paths. But don't worry, there are going to be mini missions we can do as time goes along. And we'll see it more in time when it comes available, but there are some missions where you have to use a specific unit, as is indicated by the fact our chosen player character is there. When you play a mission, if a character unlocks through that mission, they'll then appear here on this required units later on. If they're the only unlockable character, which that... Unlockable characters are weird in this game, in that there's 2? Out of a roster of 20, I want to say, there are 2 characters in the game that are unlockable. This does not count DLC. And I also just thought about something that happens later on, which I forget how that functions, but we'll get there later. But also, the difficulty selection. Again, it's right here. If you finish I'm pretty sure there is, yeah, there you go. So if you finish something on a specific difficulty, it will say you cleared on this difficulty, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, this doesn't have the effect of later games in general, like any later games in general, where it's just like, oh hey, you finished this mission on hard, we'll just give you the clear on the other 2 missions. You have to finish it on that to get the clear. Thankfully, I don't think that affects any unlock requirements or anything like that. It's just gonna be a smudge on your quote-unquote perfect record. Anyway, my rambling aside, everyone, I do want to thank you so much for watching this episode of Fire Emblem Warriors. Come back next time when I think we're going to finally get our first unlockable set of characters, and I'll be making my choice of first character I'm going to have available to me. Well, one character I'm going to focus on as my character unit of choice for this playthrough. I'll see you folks next time. Take care.